We got a nail in the tire of the '07 Honda Shadow 750. So I am going to attempt to take the tire off, dismount the tire from the rim, and see if I could patch it. If I can't patch it, then I'll take it in now and put a new inner tube in it. So first off, we got to take this off right here for the rear brake. We need to take this piece off as well. And then we got to take off this nut. And then these right here, there's one on either side. This is how you adjust the chain. Okay, so now we got this part off, the main shaft. So this right here is an 8mm. The one down here is a 12mm. And this one's a 14mm. We'll start with this one. This one, if you have two hands, you could go like this. And this piece comes out, you can see it's grooved. And that piece is grooved so that it goes around this. Like that. Now we gotta get this pin. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull out that shaft and then pull the wheel out. Make sure when you start to push that shaft out, there is a spacer here and another one on this side. Here's the shaft out now. Still got that spacer in there and the chain still attached. Kind of have to lift up the tire with one hand and pull the shaft out with the other. Here's the other spacer. Chain just fell out. Okay, I gotta pull this back out and then I'll come back. So So once the tire's out, you can see, here's your brake lever. There's your brake system. Drum brakes in the rear. There's your sprocket. Still looks alright. Something else I have to replace on mine is there's these dampener spacers in here. Mine are broke. They're split. They're split. When I took this in to get a new tire on it, they sold me the new ones. They were, I think, $23. So I'll go ahead and replace them now. Okay, so got the wheel over here now, and from what I've seen on YouTube, you got to make sure this mark is where your stem's at. So it's roughly around there. So now I'm going to attempt to take this off. I went to Harbor Freight and I bought 2 of these general purpose tire iron. So we'll see how these work. Hopefully it's just like taking off a bicycle wheel. First off, we got to take off this valve stem. Got this valve stem remover tool right here. So that'll go in. Just twist it till it comes out. And there it is. I'll just put that aside. And here's the kit that I bought in order to patch it. Okay, so now I'm gonna attempt to take this off. Okay, so me and my son, we went ahead and added some soapy water to the sides in order to break that seal, break that bead. Man, that was a pain in the ass. It was actually kind of hard, but we got one side. Now we got to flip the tire around and do the other side. So what you want to do is you want to get some nice soapy water right along the edge, and then all that I did was I pried it down with it faced up like this, that part faced up, and then I put the other one with it face down and got in that bead, and then once I got in there I moved it a little further and broke it all along the sides. So now I'm going to switch turn the tire around and we're going to try the other side. Alright, so this side was easier after figuring out the soapy water. We were able to get that one done pretty quick. So now we're gonna move. I think you have to move like the wheel in. Now that the bead's broken, you bring it inside towards the rim to like one side of the rim. You kind of have to squeeze it and push it in, and then that's when you start to pry it. Okay, so now, as you can see, we put it in, pried it. We got one side up. Now I'm gonna try another side. So that came up pretty easy. Hold that for me. you can see, I just kind of went around the sides and I got it. So now what I'm going to try to see is if I could just pull out the inner tube and make the repair. I don't really want to take off the whole tire. So I'm going to try to pull out the inner tube and then we'll see what happens. Alright, so I pulled out the valve stem, and all that holds the valve stem is just this little nut on the outside. And then I went ahead and pulled it out. So there you have it. And this is that's the nail that was in there. Man, that sucker's thick, so hopefully it just went in on one side. I'm gonna fill this up with air now and then see where exactly the hole is at, and hopefully it's the only hole, and then we'll go ahead and try to repair it. Alright guys, so we ended up with two holes. We got one right here and one right here. I believe this one's from the nail, and then when I pushed it over here inside my garage, it must have got these two or three or four right here. But I should use one nice patch right here, and I should be able to patch it all. I'm going to try to do the same thing with this one. You just use a bigger patch and patch it all. So the first thing I want to do is I want to scuff it. I'm going to use this here to scuff both of my areas real good. You want to make sure that it's like super scuffed. You got to make sure that that cement glue will really get on there. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm going to do, and then I'll come back. We went ahead and scuffed up the area. You could see where this area was scuffed up, this area was scuffed up. So I'm just going to use two small patches, you know, so one will go here, another one will go there, and it should get both areas. You can see the little holes. I mean, they're not too big. You could kind of see them right there. So we're just going to go ahead and wait till this rubbing alcohol kind of dries up, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the rubber cement and just wait for it to activate, and then we'll go ahead and put the patches on. And here's the rubber cement that we are using. It came with this kit. It's a slime classic patch kit. You know, it has quite a bit of stuff in it, so that's pretty cool. It wasn't bad. It was like $5, and then I went ahead and bought the valve stem remover tool as well, and it's the same. It comes from Slime Products. It's a pretty cool kit. Gone ahead and put the cement on there. Now you just gotta wait, let it activate, let it get nice and tacky before we put the patches on there. So here guys, you guys can see how it starts to get tacky. So I'm using here, this is like one of those brushes that you use to apply solder when you're sweating pipe. So I'm just trying to make sure that it's all the way on there, and you can just see how tacky it's getting. So it's almost ready. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply one of the patches. I'll do this one first, and then we'll see what happens. This one up, I guess you're supposed to peel this blue stuff off, and then the side that you took the blue stuff off from, that's what goes on the actual inner tube. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this one up and do it over. This one looks pretty good. I'm gonna put a little more rubber cement around it. And then I have this tool. I use this for like putting the screens on the frame. But there is a tool that you use for the patches where you want to roll it, so you roll all the air pockets out and you make sure that it's nice and tight in there. So I mean, you don't need this. You probably just press it on there and move it around. But I figured I had something similar, so I'd go ahead and use it. So I'm going to clean this side up, and then we'll do it over. I got the inner tube back in. That was hard, especially putting that valve stem back in, because That got my hand stuck in there. So it's in there now. Now all that I gotta make sure is that I don't pinch it. If I don't pinch it, then I'm home free. So now I'm gonna try to put that back on, okay? Okay guys, so now all that I'm doing is I'm kneeling on it, kneeling on the edge, and then I'm putting the tire iron in. You kind of need both hands though. You need to kind of like hold on to one side while you're prying it. Come on this side so you can. Right here. Behind me.
All right.
Alright, so we were able to get it in. It was a little bit hard, but not really. I think it was just tedious. Once you get it to where it's like right there, you kind of have to put your knees on it again, kind of like when you're taking it out, and just little by little start creeping it in. But what you really want to make sure is that when you're getting the edge in there is, you know, don't go in very far. Like I was barely just going in about like that far, and hopefully I didn't make another hole on that inner tube by doing that. But that's why you don't want to like go in very deep with that, because you will, you know, rub onto that inner tube and you will puncture it. So just, you know, try your best not to go in too far. You're kind of just on the lip right here, you know. You don't want to go in very, very far in. If you go in too far, you might get that inner tube and, you know, and you're just gonna puncture it again. So you kind of just take your time. It's actually pretty freaking easy. So here it is. This is the part number that you need. So for the wheel dampeners, so that's the next thing that I'm going to put in. So I'll just rip that open and put that on now. Okay, so here are the dampeners. Went ahead and put them in. So mine, they looked exactly the same. I mean, these are nice and shiny, and they're a little more tacky, I guess, or rubbery. All of mine were cracked right here, or yeah, pretty much all of them were cracked right there. So if yours are cracked, I mean, just might as well just buy them out. I mean, exchange them. They're only 23 bucks. So okay, so our wheel's back. It's already kind of late. I gotta work tomorrow, so I'm not gonna go ahead and put this wheel back on today. So I'll kind of finish the video tomorrow and we'll put it on, and then I'll show you guys how to adjust the chain, or how I adjust the chain, and we'll just go from there. Thanks guys. Alright, so we got the wheel back on. Got air on it, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in. Obviously we have the spacers that go in your shaft, and then I'll kind of try to show you guys how everything goes back on. Okay, so I got the new wheel dampeners. in. Then you put the sprocket assembly back on. Doesn't really have any dowel pins or anything where it needs to fit in a certain way, so you just kind of slide it back in. It's just flush. I went ahead and jacked the bike up a bit more. I'm gonna have to go in kind of at an angle and line it all up. Okay, so I got the wheel back on. Now I'm gonna put the brake assembly back on, and then we'll go ahead and put the spacers on, and then we'll put the shaft in. Alright, got the brake assembly back in. Then on this side I went ahead and put the chain back on. So now I'm going to put this spacer, which is this one, goes in this way. See how it has a little lip on it? Goes in that way. Then the shaft goes in. Then we'll put the other spacer on. Okay, so once you have that shaft all the way in, now just kind of have to align these. There's a washer. Washer goes in here. Then you got this nut. Flat side of the nut goes towards the frame. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and mount the brake assembly, which goes right here. And then I'll go ahead and attach the rear brake assembly as well. When you put the rear brake assembly piece or the mount piece back on, the bowl goes in first by itself. Then there's a washer that goes in here. It's a rubber washer. And then you got this metal washer, goes here. And then you put this nut right there. Now we're going to put the rear brake mount back on. So spring goes in first. You're going to bring it up. Put this piece in that has a hole in it. Slide this thing in. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. You're gonna have to push with one hand. You push this one that way, push the rod that way, and you push this lever, pull the lever this way a little bit, and then you should be able to slide it in through the little hole back here. And then you start to put this nut back on, and the nut goes in this way. And then you're gonna have to pull this. You'll pull this towards you now, and once it's in, you pull it towards you, and you just start twisting the nut back into place. Correction: once the rod is in, you actually just push this brake lever towards the front of the bike, and then you could turn the nut, and you could see the nut has a little groove on it right there. And once it's into place, it just locks in, so it can't come undone. So now I'm going to go ahead and adjust my chain, and then I'll go ahead and tighten up the shaft. Okay guys, so I got my chain adjusted, I got my brake back on. This little pin goes in this bolt right here. Don't forget about that. There's these little notches up here, and there's another notch on the frame right there. So you kind of want on both sides, you want those notches to be pretty much even. Once you ride it, the chain will get loose a little bit, so I got it kind of tight, but it will get loose. That's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends. That's pretty much all I got for you guys this time.